Okay, let's dive right into the new world of AI in our schools. This stuff isn't on the fringes anymore. It's moving smack into the center of education. And with it, well, you've got these incredible opportunities, but also some really serious questions that we have to tackle head on. This quote, it just perfectly captures the two sides of this coin. It comes from the legendary Go match between champion Lee Sedol and Google's AlphaGo. At one point, the AI makes this move that seems so bizarre, so out of left field, that Sedol actually thinks it's a mistake. Turns out, it was pure genius. But here's the kicker. Later in the game, Sedol makes his own brilliant game-winning move, and he said he never would have even thought of it if he hadn't been pushed and challenged by the machine. So you see, this isn't about replacement, it's about synergy.
And this really lays out that core tension. On one hand, you have this incredible promise. There's this famous idea in education called the 2 sigma problem, which basically found that personal one-on-one tutoring can boost a student's performance by a massive amount. And for decades, that's been the dream. How do we give every kid that kind of attention? Well, AI could finally be the answer. But on the other hand, you have the peril. And this isn't theoretical. The A-level scandal in the UK showed us how an algorithm can go horribly wrong, baking in and amplifying biases with absolutely devastating consequences for students.
So before we can even get excited about all the cool applications, we have to navigate these ethical minefields. Seriously, it's not enough to just be amazed by what AI can do. We have to be super critical about what it might do and who it might end up hurting. So let's break down exactly what those risks look like. It really all starts with bias. And it's so important to understand this isn't just some technical glitch or a bug in the code. Bias can creep in at every single stage, from the data we feed the machine to the way we design the models themselves. And this is the root cause of real, tangible harm to actual human beings. And that bias can lead straight to something researchers call allocative harm. It's a bit of a technical term, but the idea is simple and scary. An algorithm makes a decision about a grade, about a school placement, about anything. And because of that decision, a student is denied a real opportunity. This is where the code hits the road and a kid's entire future can be changed by a faulty system.
And like I said, this isn't a what-if scenario. It happened. The 2020 A-level scandal in the UK is the perfect, chilling example. The pandemic forced them to cancel exams, so they used an algorithm to predict student grades. But the system was biased. It systematically gave lower grades to students from public schools and poorer neighborhoods, basically punishing them for their zip code and costing them spots at universities they'd worked so hard to get into.
So how do we stop that from happening again? We have to be incredibly intentional about inclusivity right from the drawing board. It means we have to design these tools to work for everybody, not just some imaginary average student. We're talking about students with disabilities, neurodivergent learners, kids from different cultures and language backgrounds. Real equity isn't something that just happens by accident. It has to be a conscious design choice.
Okay, we've spent some time on the risks, which are super important to understand. But now let's flip the script a bit and look at the possibilities. When these tools are used thoughtfully, what does that actually look like in a classroom day to day?
We're basically seeing AI show up in 3 key ways. First, as that personal tutor we talked about, one that can adapt to every single student's pace 24/7. Second, as a teacher's assistant for grading, giving kids instant feedback and freeing up teachers to, do more teaching. And third, as a huge enabler for accessibility, think tools that can translate in real time or turn text into speech, just knocking down barriers to learning. But, and this is a massive but, we have to remember a fundamental truth. AI makes mistakes. It is not magic. It doesn't know anything the way a person does. It just runs on probability. And that means it can create information that sounds completely authoritative and convincing, but is just wrong. This is what's known as a hallucination. It's how an AI might confidently draw a picture of snow in Singapore because it has zero real-world understanding. And that fallibility is a huge check on our enthusiasm. So how do we actually do this? How do you harness all that power while managing the risks? How do you use a tool that's both brilliant and, frankly, a little bit broken? It all starts with having a clear playbook, one that puts people and good teaching first. This right here is the golden rule for every educator. Don't start with the flashy new AI tool. No, start with your learning goals. What do you actually want your students to learn? Second, figure out your pedagogy. How are you going to teach it? Is it group work, project-based? And only then, as the very last step, do you look for an AI tool that serves those first two things. The technology has to serve the teaching, not the other way around. Period. I just love this quote. It's such a powerful shift in perspective. The point of technology isn't to fix a student. The point is to use technology to fix the learning environment so that everyone has a fair shot. It moves the focus from a problem with the student to a problem with the system and uses AI to build a bridge over that gap. And this also means we need to be teaching our kids a whole new set of skills. We need to build AI literacy. It really comes down to three things. First, engaging with AI critically, teaching them to be detectives, to spot bias and check for accuracy. Second, creating with AI, learning how to be the director, using smart prompts to guide the AI. And third, managing AI, knowing when to hand off a task to the machine and when you absolutely need human judgment. So all of this brings us to the biggest question of all, really. In a world where AI can write an essay or solve a complex equation, what's the role for us humans? The goal here isn't to worry about replacement. It's about finding a new, more powerful kind of synergy. Professor Kukurova really frames this challenge in such a profound way. It's a striking thought, isn't it? As machines get better and better at doing things we thought only humans could do, what does that mean for us? It forces us to take a hard look and ask, what are the skills and qualities that are truly uniquely human? So you see, the real conversation we need to be having is not, will AI replace teachers? That's just the wrong question. It's about figuring out what we need to protect, what we need to double down on. It's about identifying that human core. Things like empathy, critical thinking, creativity, mentorship. The question isn't whether a robot can do a teacher's job. It's about what are the essential human things a teacher brings that a robot never, ever could. And that leaves us with this final, powerful question to really think about.